Viewers, today we have with us two remarkable individuals, Neelam and Shekhar Krishnamoorthy. These are not just the parents who lost their children in 1997 Uphaar fire tragedy, but also the ones who became a driving force behind the formation of Association of Victims of Uphaar tragedy. Their fight for justice that has been taking place for last 3 decades has become an inspiration for all of us. Ma'am, we have recently received a video in which you have portrayed your agony and your fight for justice very vividly. So you have even sung a song in that.
ढूंढती है नजर छुप गए वो किधर ऐसे खो जाएंगे थी किसे ये खबर.
Pardon me for asking this, but after 28 years of fight for justice, do you see that there is a scope for justice at the dark end of the tunnel?
You know, we've been fighting for the last 28 years, relentlessly, like rightly said, with a lot of patience and perseverance. But initially, we had a lot of hope from the judiciary. But as we started going to the courts, we lost the complete faith in the judiciary because one or two judgments which we got from the judiciary, like especially in 2015 from Supreme Court, wherein the Ansals were let off because of their old age. And there were not only 2 of our children, there were 57 others who died, and there were 23 children in this tragedy. We thought that the judiciary will send a message or to the perpetrators of such crime that what judiciary can do and what punishment should be given to them. But it's gone on, and now still we are in courts. They've tampered with the evidence. For the last 27 years, we're still in courts with a hope. And that's only last resort we have. And that also, people, it's always been, like Neelam rightly said, it's a matter of, debate about your trust in the judiciary. But today's the episode of the High Court judge, and it's really shattered people's faith in the judiciary. And we have done this song, which you're talking about. We've been, I've been a singer at 97. I was very, very active in singing, but I could not continue after the tragedy. And Neelam got this song written from a dear friend of ours, and she'd been telling me that we have to record this song. And last year we decided that yes, we should do this song, and this song tells the entire our life, the story of our life, and it talks about our struggle to live, the way we are living for the last 27 years. So we have done our best, and it's only legacy we can leave behind for our children. We have nothing else to leave behind, and I only hope that the song reaches wherever my children are. That's the only hope I have.
जिनसे थी जिंदगी जिनसे थी हर खुशी ले गई साथ उनको धुएं की लहर ले.
Ma'am, you have been fighting for justice since last 28 years. After this Justice Varma cash row scam, how this entire sequence of events has affected your faith in judiciary?
Actually, I told on an earlier show also, I had said I had actually lost faith in the judiciary in 2015 when the Supreme Court allowed the Ansals to walk free. But somehow it was restored in 2021 when the CMM convicted Ansals for tampering with evidence and sent them behind bars for 7 years, which was very short-lived. Because in 22, the district judge allowed Ansals to walk free after doing just 8 months and 12 days as against 7 years. And he cited that it was due to double jeopardy that he was allowing them to walk free because Ansals were earlier convicted in Rash and Negligent Act 304A, but out here they were for 409, breach of trust, tampering with evidence 201, and 120B conspiracy. They're different offences, different FIR, different set of accused. I don't know what he means. I'm a layman, but I understood what a double jeopardy is. But how has the judge actually given the justification for this? This is for all your viewers to understand, for you to understand whether it was an honest judgment or a dishonest judgment. So now we are back in the High Court against a revision. But let me tell you something very honestly. I don't go to the court with any expectations. I just go there. And you wonder why I'm still in the courts. I'm still in the courts because I promised my children, both of us promised our children, we're going to get justice for them. That's what this fight is all about. And I'm quite sure my children will not like us going on the road and killing them and, coming back. I did say this in 2015 because I was very frustrated. But surely my children would not like us to do that. They would, they would like to see that we get justice in a proper manner, which doesn't seem to happen because we waited 30 years, it's not happening. I wonder, the way things are going on in our country now, whether we'll actually get justice or no.
It's basically, like what I tell people is that the courts give judgment. They don't give justice. That's all.
It's for the record's sake.
For the record's sake.
SCC, volume 10, 2023, that's it. But it doesn't deliver justice to the people. It's for the records. For the lawyers to cite the judgment for other similar cases.
This is a man-made disaster. We have seen so many man-made disasters. Had the our case was the only case which reached the Supreme Court. Had the Supreme Court given a judgment, like which would have been, sent a message to perpetrators of such crime, you wouldn't have seen any other man-made disaster. We've seen so many man-made disasters after Uphaar. They've not learned. They've not.
There's no difference.
There is no victimology in this country. As a victim, we go to the court, but like Neelam rightly said, the way we are treated in court, not respected. That's the problem.
Absolutely.
There's a concept of victimology in this country.
That's right. So, after these many years, have you somehow come to believe that the system has been compromised and biased, and has this Justice Varma's scam case has done anything to reinforce those beliefs about bias and the situation of compromise in the system?
Yes, in fact, this is not the first time that we're feeling that way. Each time the injustice was done to us, we felt that it has been compromised. The judgment, it was very open. Because the rich and powerful in our country always go scot-free. Why is it that only when a person is rich and powerful do the judges see how old is he? Oh, he's 80 years old. He's an old man. Why don't they see it for a poor man? Why is the system so biased towards the rich and poor? I thought the scale of justice is supposed to show the balance, justice equal for everyone. Doesn't really happen. I'm sorry. And it's been further endorsed now. So the justice in our country is actually a luxury, which is there only for rich and powerful, not for ordinary citizens like this, like us. And this has been further endorsed today by, what we are seeing. Huge pile of cash. Who knows? We go into a court, whether the judge has been compromised, and more so when the other side is rich and powerful, they can afford to pay money. People like us, we cannot. We can only go and plead and stand there with folded hands, please deliver justice, and we're totally ignored.
See, when when you're fighting, especially against rich and powerful people, what happens is nobody knows me or Neelam, or nobody knows the rest of the family who lost their dear ones in the Uphaar fire tragedy. But they know the person. I don't want to name them again. Everybody knows Ansals. They know Ansals. Yes, they're big, but nobody knows Unnati and Ujjwal. So they know they're old. They've been suffering. Their health is not good. So they should given the mitigating factor of that old age and everything. Otherwise, for us, nothing happens.
Here I'd just like to add on one thing. When the verdict was being announced, when the judge reduced the sentence, I was shocked. The judge had the audacity to tell me that if you have suffered, so have they. They means Ansals. That means if you have suffered, that means I was shocked how he could compare the loss of my children with the suffering of Ansals by just coming to the court, and more than half the hearings, they never come, they used to get adjournments. He equated, how could the grief of a mother be equated with the suffering of Ansals? And I don't know in what way Ansals have suffered. Their life was going on, they got their children married, they've got grandchildren, they've been having foreign jobs, their business is growing. It's different now, they've gone bankrupt because they've cheated a lot of investors. But how could a judge compare, my grief with that of Ansals? This has happened in the court. So what do you want me to think? It's for people to judge. But everybody must know the facts.
So do you believe that there should be stringent checks and balances in judiciary as well to ensure that there is sense of accountability and transparency? And what reforms could ensure that people get justice quickly in a rightful manner?
Why not? Are the judges above law? They are not. In this case also, I was listening to the program today. FIR is basically the, like you initiate an investigation. The question of sanction comes only when the charge sheet is filed, when they go for taking cognizance from the court. People have to understand that. Why was not the FIR lodged? That is the first question. First question to be asked. Are there, if the authorities have found 20 crores in my house or 15 crores in my house, I would have been put behind bars the very next day for unaccounted cash. Why not? Nobody is above law in this country. I think even the politicians are not above law in this country. Why should they be spared? I'm sorry. But everybody has seen, the Supreme Court itself has put the video. I have not put the video. Supreme Court itself has put the video showing the burning cash and everything. Nobody else has put it. It's the Supreme Court themselves have put it. So what do we understand from this? Rich man is above law. The judges are above law. The politicians are above law. The so-called bureaucrats are above law. And what are we? Ordinary people. Knocking at the door of the court. Where do we go? Where else we go? Can we go anywhere else? Nowhere. That's the problem. So some mechanism has to be there. It has to be there. They have to be answerable. There has to be transparency. There has to be accountability, so that people have some faith in the judiciary. Tomorrow I can go with say yes, yes, in this court, in this I can get justice.
So do you think Justice Varma Cash Rao case will force the judiciary to introspect and bring in some reforms?
Well, we sincerely hope so, because if they don't do this, it will be a disaster for the country. Ordinary citizens in this country are going to lose faith in the judicial system. They already have. If you want that faith to be restored, it's better that some drastic measures are taken for accountability of the judges, keeping a check on them, and checking, what judgments have been delivered. I'm sure they'll know, okay, if this judgment, it reads so biased, can't the judges see what the judge has done? So they should actually investigate that why this judgment is biased. Despite the facts being so clear, and it is different than what it should be, I think these kinds of things should be investigated, and that's why you hold them up.
Courts are there to
Why should they be spared?
Courts are there to give justice. If there are no victims, we don't need courts. We as victims go to the courts.
We don't need judges.
We don't need judges. When you cannot give justice to the victims of a crime, what is the point of having judges and courts after judges and after courts and courts, a lot of courts and courts, that's all. What do we do? Where do we go? We've been going to the court, despite our saying, we don't have faith in the judiciary, we're still going to the courts. But that is the law's result. I can't go to the street and throw a stone or kill somebody with a gun. I have to go to the court. So they have to bring some kind of accountability, or there has to be some system where people repose faith in the judiciary. Yes, I can go to this court and get justice.
Ma'am and sir, your fight for justice is quite inspiring, because in our country people they knock the doors of judiciary for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but never for 28 years. It's not an easy fight.
It is very difficult after losing your children. You have to go to court and fight for justice, to get justice for your children. That's very difficult. Yes, you're not running an NGO that you're fighting for somebody else. You're fighting for your own children. Because our association has 28 families, 59 people lost life. We're fighting, Neelam is heading heading the association. And we have given up everything, entire youth we have spent in the courts. Entire youth. Can you imagine? Right from the age of 40, now we are almost 28 years. Now we are in late 60s. We're still fighting in the courts.
We've seen lawyers becoming
judges. We have seen
retiring as Chief
Justice. So everything we have seen. So we're still fighting, still in the courts.
But we are still, our status still remains the for victim. And that too is challenged by the other side, that you don't have a locus standi in the case.
Every time it happens.
This is the pathetic condition. We are where we are. The others have reached where they have. This is our legal system. Pathetic.
Thank you for joining us, sir and ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for reminding us that the fight for justice should never waver, no matter the odds, no matter the cost.
Never,
Yes.
never.
Thank you.
Thank you.